Once again, a very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining on a long weekend Friday. I totally understand it might be difficult for all of you joining in, but we just thought we don't want to cancel this as we had already booked in. I hope everyone benefits from this webinar as it's a CPD, as well as it's a nice topic to learn a little bit more lighter CPD. It's not always about compliances and accounting and matter management and client management. Let's learn a little bit about more than that, some things that could be useful for your enhancing your business and, overall law office work and etc. So we're going to see that today. And as you all know, CPD is provided for 1 hour, and it's professionalism CPD credits. For those of you who attend uLaw webinars regularly, I'm sure you're aware that we don't deliver any substantiative hours. We only deliver uLaw only delivers professionalism CPD hours. And the topic for today's session is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX, which is necessary, absolutely, to ensure your law office is running smoothly and, also in great heights. So for the ones who have to claim your credits from your respective law society portal, I request you to take a minute to maybe you want to screenshot this, maybe you want to note down the topic. Please go ahead and note it down. Attendance links will be shared every 15 to 20 minutes once, at least 3 times over this entire seminar. And the topic is also shared in here in the chat window. At any time, any of you have any questions, I request you to use the chat window for, any suggestions. You want me to pause, you want me to slow down, or you want me to repeat something. I would be happy to go over it. I think it's about time I could get started, and I hope everyone is able to hear me well. For the ones not able to hear me well, I've entered the phone audio coordinates on the chat window, and kindly probably get on the phone call for better audio quality. And the session is being recorded. The recording will be uploaded onto our YouTube platform as early as Monday. All right, so this is one of the most, lightest topics amongst all our other CPDs. I mean, when I say lighter topics, this is something that you could definitely choose to follow. It's not something compliant related. This is something that would enhance your business usage, your customer experience, the user experience from the other side of the, business or the law office, and overall PX, product experience. So what is this BX, CX, UX, and PX? That's what we're going to see in the first few slides, then get into the details of how you as a law office could achieve it. Now, as every other webinar, of course, we have a small agenda here. And as I mentioned, firstly, we're going to see what is BX, UX, CX, and PX mean, why and how to be BX cognitive in order to make sure that, your business, again, is showing out between other competitors in today's market. And how do you think you could, be using branding more effectively in order to capture the market that you're looking for? And also, how do you bring in business automation to serve your clients better? Today, we're all in this world where no one is literally using paper pen to get your feedbacks or summaries or experiences. Now, everything has become absolutely automated. Today, people at one click button get a survey done, get their, feedbacks provided. So that is also part of today's discussion as part of UX and CX. So BX being branding experience, that is the full form of BX. And UX being user experience, CX being consumer experience and customer experience rather, and PX being product experience. Now, benefits of practice management and legal accounting software and its contributions to PX is highly important, as we all know that we use several softwares today. It could be for an accounting software or a legal practice management software, or something as your, let's say you're using a website to have your clients onboarded. You have your own client portal. There could be different techniques that you can follow, but end of the day, as a lawyer or a paralegal trying to manage their practice efficiently, how does a legal accounting software like uLaw help you contribute to better PX, right? So these are what we're going to see in today's webinar. And I'd like to repeat once again that today's webinar's topic is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office. It is entitled to 1 hour of professionalism CPD credits, and you could claim for it using the attendance link here, as well as going into your respective client portal, law society portals and doing it. All right, so what is BX, CX, UX, and PX? Now, BX being brand experience. In today's world, which is everything, anything is all about branding, right from the coffee we use to, our daily necessities to luxuries. Everything is brand. Everything is based out of brand experience that you have felt. You could use different brands. You could take services and use the products of different brands. But initially, it is all about your firm being represented by your brand. So branding is one thing that all of you need to have in mind. So this is where technically it starts. Let's say you want to have your logo and letterhead branded on all your, client-facing documents. Could be invoices, retainer letters, even simplest of client intake forms, everywhere, anywhere. So right from the time you intake a client to the time you close the file, where you give a closing letter, you want to make sure your brand is, communicated or is transformed into your client's experience. So this is where brand adequately reflect who you are, your values, your competencies. You'd like to showcase it to your client, give them a feel of what your brand can provide. You want your brand to imprint that confidence in the service. And of course, only when you offer an excellent service, right? But still, sometimes your service could be more or less okay, but still your client will remember your brand, because obviously every single document that is client facing has your branding on it, which is your logo or your letterhead, banner. There could be something, that is being communicated, and that delivers a little bit of confidence, and it'll be eventually caught in your client's mind. When people say it catches your attention for a simple thing, let's say, when Nike has that, you do it or something like that. So it's the branding that is basically imprinted in the client's mind as to whether, this is something which they would like to go with or continue using, or when you want to try to at least remember what kind of services you render and what you basically provide to your client is basically a feel for this. So branding being BX, brand experience, super important to get started with capturing your client's attention. And once you have achieved seeking your client's attention from BX, then you slowly move on to CX, which is customer experience, where it starts right from the time you intake a client, where you give them a client intake form, fill in all those details such as client ID verification. Now, here is where the CX plays a little bit more, they have a little upper hand. They want to make sure that the customer feels that you're not letting them do too much of work on their end. Like, for example, have automated client intake forms. You have, where you can fill in things online today, where you don't have to literally come into your lawyer's office or paralegal's office to fill in just a client intake form and get your, engagement done. So today, especially after, I think, 2020 pandemic, we've all faced this issue where we couldn't meet our clients, we couldn't meet our, maybe even our own office staff. So those times is where people started using these online portals that could make a big, like a big strike in front of them, making sure that it saves them a lot of time, one, and in turn, of course, their intervention to provide details is fairly lesser, and it is what perceived by the customer with every in-person welcome. I mean, of course, sometimes these days in-person welcome is moved or is transformed into all Zoom call meetings, and you have a phone call, or every retainer letter or any document that they receive, any consultation that you have with them, everything has there's a little bit of touch of CX in it, right? So they feel the importance of being provided with a great service, and in turn, the customer experience turns out to be pleasant to them and not disturbing or not too overwhelming. That's also one of the points to keep in mind. Just taking a quick pause here before I move on to UX. So we are done with understanding what are the basics of BX and CX. Just taking a quick pause here. I see quite a lot of thank you, staff, for sharing all the links. The ones joining in a little later, don't worry. There will be a link, attendance link, and the topic, other details being shared every 15 minutes once. So staff will again be sharing everything at 2:30 p.m. So kindly wait for it, and don't worry about the attendance link and the topic. I'd like to repeat the topic for today's session is how do you ensure BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office. And we are so far done with BX, CX, trying to understand just the basics of what is BX and CX, and we'll of course go in detail on how you could implement it in your office to enhance your overall experience for your clients. Moving on to UX. Now, UX is user experience. User experience is something, this is more like a multi-touch point. Now, this is where your client starts to feel that they have obtained thorough services from you, right from the time being engaged to the time the matter is being closed. They have felt every single time they had a point of touch with you. Let's say they have shared their case details. Let's say they wanted to follow up with some, case proceedings. Let's say they had to pay for retainer. There are different touch points where you and your client would be meeting often, maybe virtually, personally, as an in-person, or through email services. There could be different types. That's what I'm saying. There'll be multi-touch point experience for your client when he or she is engaged in your services and using your services rather. Now, overall, does he or she get a sense that you and your team are working around the clock to deliver the service? Now, this is where it doesn't have to literally be that you have to work around the clock, like, no, it's humanly not possible, but at least to show that when it's sense of emergency, or when, especially in our field, you know how things work, where your clients could be a little bit, maybe they are more excited to know how things are going to go forward, in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. But I think we overall need to perceive it in a positive manner, an optimistic manner, and provide them with an overall feeling, or sense of feeling rather, that you and your team are working to make them feel better, make their issue resolve, or you're working towards delivering the service. So it doesn't have to, like I said, necessarily be that you respond to them at 1 a.m. in the night, but at least when there's an emergency and they're trying to reach out to you, you obviously want to, comfort them and make sure that he or she is well aware that what you're doing is going to be coming out soon, and there's going to be an ending to it soon, and you're working towards it. There's going to be a result soon is what I meant. So is a self-serve payment option truly convenient? For example, today in too many offices, let's say it doesn't have to be like you have to be a big office or something. Even today in a small offices where people have made self-serve payment option a point, like you use a practice management software, or you use a online payment options, you use an integrated payment options, where people want to make sure that you give that convenience of making the payment. You let them make the choice whether they want to make it through email transfer or credit cards, or checks. There could be any method of payment that they prefer, but you should be able to offer everything to them. Today, I think it's not too much where you get to spend a few hundreds, but end of the day, it's going to be, that your entire clientele base is going to be facing the UX, where their overall user experience with your firm and services rendered by your firm is so satisfying that obviously they will want to keep using it in future. So that is where the PX comes into place, where, the overall product experience is when your client is able to communicate with you and the actual outcomes achieved with your service delivery. So this is where feedbacks and references, client references, or even repetitive clients plays a big role. So when you feel that if you have actually won the case for your client, is when they're coming back to you for another file or for another issue, or you could have handled their landlord-tenant issue, but let's say they come back to you for a traffic ticket. Now that is because of the PX, their overall product experience that they witnessed with you. Now, this is the actual win for you when there's a repetitive client or there's a client referral. Now, he or she obviously feel that the final outcome of experiencing BX, CX, UX was worth the time and money. So PX is nothing but an overall, it's putting together BX, CX, and UX. The overall experience from these 3 categories is what is making PX sound like an overall product experience, and there's a worth of their time, their money that is being invested in you. So kindly make sure that we all somehow, right? It could be as small as making your branding prominent, or making your overall, let's say, customer experience, starting from the engagement letter. There's more smooth of a transition from one stage to the other stage, where you intake them to the time you give them the final closing letter. You know how many steps, goes in there, how many phases of your file goes in there. So if it's a small matter, like a simple matter, then even then, there's the first day you get the agreement signed, the retainer agreement signed, then you have a client intake, then the retainer agreement, then you have their other client ID verifications done, and then you have, client payments come in, invoices done, disbursements done, collected, reimbursed, everything good. Then you offer them client ledgers, trust ledgers, and general ledgers, whatever is there, client-facing documents, provide them with statement of accounts, total settlement statements, whatever documents that you can provide them with to make them feel comfortable, transparent especially, so they're aware as to how their money was transferred into different accounts, even at your end, like how it moved from trust to the general and how it was utilized towards your legal fee and disbursement. Now, it is nice to give them the warmth of, let's say, idea behind what is happening in their trust account, like, money that comes and goes out, a lot of things. So it is what it is perceived by the customer end of the day, but with every stage or phase of your interaction with the client, when you're able to give them more details, but precise, concise, of course, not too elongated, not too elaborate, because nobody has time today reading 10 pages of retainer agreement. But at least end of the day, they're able to read all important points and get through the understanding of retainer letter and every other document, of course, and every time you have a consultation with them. So that's how we wrapped up what is CX, and UX being giving them multi-touch point of experience right from the time they're being engaged into, converting them into absolutely having different teams working with them, and of course making sure that you're readily available for them, but at the same time not at the cost of your personal time or health or money, but overall you're able to afford providing your time to them at the understanding the sense of emergency, of course, is there. So make sure that the overall user experience is provided to them right from the time you engage the client to the time, of course, you finish serving them, and you give them different options of convenience from the time doing an online intake to making online payments. They're totally different types of online user experiences today. So you want to provide them with all. And in the end of the day, when you come to PX, it would have become a combination of BX plus UX or BX plus CX plus UX is what is more like PX, where your client has already communicated with you, has come up with an outcome that you'll be able to achieve from your service delivery. But at the end of the day, it is where these different touch points, these different small differences where you made their life seem easier in the last few days, weeks, months, however long is your case, you were able to actually win them over for all the convenience you were able to provide to them, for all the warmth you were able to give them, for all the, confidence that you were able to instill. And then overall, he or she feel that the final outcome of experiencing all these three brands, CX, which is the consumer experience, and UX being user experience, was of course worth their time and money. Now, moving on to next part, I would say, of today's topic is how could you implement BX in your practice using, let's say, various softwares today, using various methods, using, branding and, logo brand messages, practice management tools like uLaw, document management tools like, today you have OneDrive, G Drive, where you have all the documents uploaded in one place for each matter. So there are different types of tools and automation processes that help you brand consistently and effectively. Look for creative ways via, of course, today's world. Tell me everything is on social media. There are things where you can make the best use of social media today. Of course, all of us, I know I have myself seen many lawyers and paralegals having their own, official pages on social media where, it's not just interacting with your clients, but also showcasing what you're trying to, create like an awareness and showcasing what you're trying to do as part of branding and give the brand experience to your, prospective clients or existing clients. So coming back to how you could do it is brand cognitively plays a huge role in motivating the client, of course, to retain you in the first place. Now, let me tell you, there's always this trust with branding. I wouldn't have used a brand for the first time, but I could have heard about the brand from my friend. I could have heard about the brand from my, my colleague, from anywhere, but from anyone who's already used it. So it's word of mouth, of course, for which the customer needs to remember your brand and come back to you for multiple engagements and refer you to the potential clients. Now, this is where if they have to remember you and come back to you and refer you to potential clients, they should remember your brand. And sometimes if, let's say, the branding is not great, the brand rather is not explicitly available in the market, but for some reason they liked your servicing, or they liked your service, or they liked your product, whatever it is that they have used. But if there is no BX in it, if there's no branding in it, there's no way they're going to be able to look up for you and come back to you for a multiple engagement, or there's no way they're going to be able to refer to you to a potential new client. So this is where branding plays a huge role. I always tell my clients to, first thing, when they set up their firm, they ask me, hey, Gayatri, so what do I do here? I'm like, get your branding done. Like, have your logo set up and get it on all single documents. So, of course, uLaw has its own ways to help you with that. But I'm just saying if there's so many uLaw users today attending the seminar, I know that. But if you know why branding the logo, banner, getting it to your client-facing documents is so important, this is one of the points, right? I'm sure they will go back to their emails, or they will go back to some kind of paper trail they have to look up for your brand, to look up for your logo or design, whatever they have in front of them, to reach out to you, to reach back to you, or to refer you to someone. Because it is very important that the documents carry your logo, your letterhead, banner, some sort of detail of you and your firm, so for them to reach back to you. Besides that, today's world doesn't stop with just word of mouth or referrals or multiple engagements. We want more new clients. We want more, unknown people knowing our brand. So this is where social branding and business branding plays a role, where, you are able to see your prominence in social media marketing. You have someone who helps you, or I think today's world, we're all tech-savvy to a certain extent, where we could ourselves open an Instagram account, put in certain topics, plan like a theme, like every Friday, how uLaw has a webinar. You guys can say every Wednesday I would have a 1-minute topic uploaded on my Instagram about certain issue. So there are different ways you could do social branding. That's just an example, like a very mere example that I could give. But get on, maybe do a live with your followers. There's so many things. Do a Q&A, business branding. It's just about, I think, showcasing to all the people out there that you exist, and the style in which you are conveying to them is super important, so that it is imprinted in their minds and there's no way they're going to be able to forget it. Now, all customer facing documents, I've already mentioned, try to get your branding on every single customer facing document. Could be a retailer letter, could be an invoice, could be a receipt, could be a client intake form, anything. 100% needs to be branded. Now, this is basic. This is your basic branding. I don't think, if this is something that you guys are not doing, the ones attending today's session with me, all the 20 of you, I would love to see all of you have your branding done, have your logos attached to your program that you're using, so it's automatically uploaded onto the letters or forms that gets printed. Now, this is where the basic branding starts. After this, there's, of course, consistent experiences of, maybe changing your logo, brand message, or, updating at least. You want to keep updating your logo with maybe a new brand message. The message needs to contain, of course, relevant information that your client will use or will think of you and refer to someone. For example, Starbucks personalizes your coffee right next to their brand by use of your first name. Sometimes they use their own names. They find some funny names, but at least they're trying to do something different from others, which makes them stand out. I sometimes like to go to Starbucks because not just it's coffee, it's thrilling to see your name on the little cup coming out, and sometimes you're looking forward to, okay, how is that going to be spelled today? So just saying, for an example, Starbucks could just give with their logo on it. So why did they try to come up with the concept of having to use your first name on it? Right? That's how they communicate, to show you that they are super interested to give you that experience, that user experience, the brand experience of giving you that importance, that super importance to having your name on that cup. Makes you feel a little personalized, that it's just a 1-minute task for them, but at least they're making that attempt in a different manner. So I'm just saying, every business, every different business would have a different strategy to. It's not about impressing your customers. It's about communicating to them how you are important, how you're different from others to them when it comes to servicing to you. And besides this, you also have practice management tools. You have document management tools that are today helping you with branding. For example, uLaw has its own place where you can upload your logo, your banner, so that a nice letterhead can be formed and it can be uploaded into your client-facing documents. They provide today tools and automate process to help you branding consistently and effectively. Look for creating from different ways, like social media, print to get your website, your brand imprinted in minds of your customers. There are different ways you could do it, but a good BX translate to good reference. So this is where everything starts. Now, this was what I was talking about, the brand experience. Now, a simple brand can just have a logo and leave it, but Maybe some go one step ahead. They have a tagline. Some have the personalized writing your names like Starbucks. So BX is very important. It's where I think the starting point between you and your client to provide them with a brand experience and then give them the base to other experiences like CX, UX, PX. Now, CX being different touch points key touch points where your customer receives insight into your business, like let's say a simple phone call or a meeting or any communication that needs to give your customer the clarity and a confidence that you have him legally protected and is getting strong legal advice. There couldn't be anything than a reassurance, anything more better than a reassurance to your client. You keep giving them in different formats, like you give them once over a call, you give them once over the meeting, you give them once over a simple email correspondence. You always keep showing them that you're there to protect them. That's where it all starts, right? The kind of reassurance, the kind of understanding from your client where they can trust you, they can trust your work, and they can provide all the information, the sense of confidence and the sense of confidentiality. Both are totally different, and I'm sure you all understand the sense of confidence in you and the confidentiality in the information that is being provided, that's being maintained by you, is also a sort of a customer experience. They start feeling more secured when they share information with you, and improving the customer experience takes effort and discipline. Clear information in the retainer letter, and you're able to jot down every single point that you and your client would like to have on your telephone conversation. It's all being documented, it's being docketed, and there's a clear and self-explanatory invoices alongside with bill of costs, settlement statements, statement of accounts for trust in general. Like I already said, the customer starts feeling more secure, more confident as you start providing them with more information, right? So as you start, I'm not saying that you have to be, transparent to 100%. I understand sometimes even at your end, there could be some sort of needs to protect some information at your end, but it's just that your client would like to have constant updates, regular updates on how their file is, progressing and what kind of information that you can give. So the ones you see highlighted here, like every phone call, meeting, communication, along with providing them clear information on retainer letters, telephone conversations being docketed, providing them invoices with description, providing them bill of cost, statement of activities or settlement statements for both trust and general, of course, so that they have an idea as to what is happening in both their accounts. And using the business process automation today, built in every practice management system. Trust me, today, everyone is moving towards AI. We're all trying to be more, time, we are trying to save time being spent on even the systems or the softwares that we're using, and allowing the software to do more work, thereby producing documents to provide to your customer or to any other, legal and authoritative body. But end of the day, legal accounting software issues, all of these. Now, if there's anyone here using legal accounting software like uLaw, and you're not using these specific client-based documents or client-facing documents that we're talking about, I say high time you start using it, because it's not always the compliances. It's not always the law society compliances. Of course, yeah, that's our criteria to be fulfilled. That's our top priority. I'm not denying it. But what about the overall experience that whom you are working for, right? So that's where the CX, BX, UX, PX plays a role. And I think, if you're someone who's using a legal accounting software and that software provides you with all these documents, it shouldn't be so difficult for you to produce it from time to time to provide your client with that best customer experience. Now, there's no way they're not going to come back to you, or there's no way they're not going to refer you if we are trying to, do all of this as part of the customer experience to make them feel special, to make them feel secure, to make them feel, more confident. So this is where, customer experience plays a huge role. And as part of, and I think, we should all take the opportunity to use programs like uLaw to produce those documents. So end of the day, you and your client have a very smooth journey, and in turn your client is going to provide with all this experience with, let's say, to their friend or to their family, to some acquaintance, and that's how the referral comes back. Now, moving on to user experience, I'd like to take a quick pause here to see if there are any questions. I request all of you to please let us know if you have any questions towards end of the session, because it's a CPD. We'd like to use the 1 hour effectively here for discussing the topic, and I'd probably take the questions at 3 p.m. in the end. Now, as part of user experience, now we spoke about BX, business experience, CX, customer experience. Now in UX, user experience in several ways can be a game changer. Trust me, with your office productivity is high, especially when you're using user experience policy, because this user experience, end of the day, can be translated to your end user as well. Like, for example, efficiency in handling documents, like you're using document management tools where, you can send a link to your client, ask them to upload all the scanned documents. Instead of emailing to you, they could just upload it in there, and it becomes 2-in-1. If you've integrated that to your system, it gets automatically updated into your practice management tool as well. So properly integrated payment methods, even further than over there, you save so much time for your customers, and you're able to collect the payments on time. At the same time, provide them with that facility to pay using any method of payment instead of forcing them to use only email transfer or check or cash or wire transfer. End of the day, it's giving them the convenience over the choices. So making sure that you're able to provide them with document management, better integrated payment options, sending them, season's greetings, treating them in person, with utmost attention, punctuality. Like I said, the overall experience should be fabulous, that they feel special. And at the same time, it's the attention that you give them, and use the business automation for giving them cover letters, business letters, and labels, having nicely all their documents combined, with all those cover letters, business letters, envelopes, labels, to give them a better UX, PX overall. And end of the day, the user experience leaves the most long-lasting experience. This is technically where all your effort plays a big role, and your business is there in their mind, or is imprinted in their mind. And this is where it gets transformed into, repetitive clients, or providing a great user experience. Maybe they share their UX with their friends, their whoever, family, friends. But end of the day, you're satisfied, but also at the same time, your client has the user experience that leaves them with most long-lasting experience, at least the feeling of that user experience. So you give them different options where, for example, if you take Starbucks, you're able to pre-order, pick it up at the store, buy it online, have, ideas to, all the available options today, like, for different coffees, the sizes, the choices you have available, and the ease of placing the order or ease of purchasing it. It's not that difficult today to make an online order and purchase it. So the user experience has to be such that, they're able to get it in ease and clarity, and at the same time fulfill all their requirements by getting the experience overall UX. Now, when it comes to PX, as we already discussed, it's nothing but a good, product experience. And the product experience is to be satisfied. A customer needs to feel that at the end of the day, his or her needs were met, and he or she was served with utmost care and interest. So this is where you show that attention, all that attention rather you've shown back at the stages of BX, CX, UX. This rather CX, UX mostly. This requires very, very strong business process and strong tools. You're able to maintain certain policies, practice management, and legal accounting software takes that burden off your back. They do, like I said, they do most of your work and they let you relax. A proper product experience leads to repetitive customer experience. Now, if you want people to come back to you, they need the overall PX. It's not that your branding was good, but you didn't have great UX, or your UX was good, but you didn't have a great CX, and BX was there. So even if one of these components fail, I don't think the overall product experience is going to be there. So the overall product experience is felt only when all the other three experiences, right from the time of branding to the time of customer experience, to the time of user experience, everything is being felt by the client. And then you have an overall, product experience felt by your client. So it could be right from the time a good brand ambassador, if you take example for Starbucks, a quality, satisfaction, different choices you provide them, and the process of how it's being done is where you have, the overall PX playing a role. So how do you, end of the day, let's say we're almost there to the end, how do you ensure now BX, CX, UX, and PX is high for your law office? Okay, so if you're not been doing this, I think every few months, it's good to refresh your company policies. It's good to refresh all your branding, your logos, visit your website, visit your social media content. Keep renewing it every few weeks, days, months, totally depending upon how, what is your bandwidth. So go over or revisit your office branding. Make sure your logos are up to date, your addresses, your phone numbers, your email IDs. You never know. You could have changed 4 places. You could have changed 4 numbers. You could have changed email IDs. But you might not be surprised to see there will be several people who will be trying to reach out to you in the old addresses. So keep your branding updated from time to time. And of course, have training and personnel management. Now, if you have let's say your assistant or your coworker trying to work with you on the same file, so the experience that your client receives is from your office. It's not just from you. So make sure that you train your team the same way as we discussed now, and you all function in a very similar manner, so that when there's a repetitive client and there's someone else from your office handling them, or even if the same client but a different stage of the file is being handled by another person in your office, then it shouldn't be so different as a user experience to your customer, but they should be having that feel of how the entire office treats them the same, right? Gives them that feeling of importance and works around giving them that sense of confidence and overall, UX for them. So besides that, please make sure in today's world, a lot of things are automated, trust me. So try to see how much at your end is being automated, or how many automated tools are you using in today's world? Like, are you using a practice management software? How good is that practice management software? Does it help you to do a lot of automated things, like, from billing to, docketing? There's so many things that has come up today, legal accounting, and, the overall implementation to improve interactions with your client and the overall experience for all of your clients to, feel that the end product that they have used is nevertheless it's a great experience, the overall experience that your clients have faced, right from the time they started receiving the intake form to the time they have received the final receipt or closing letter. They have all great experience from your, services rendered to them. So the ones who want to continue playing around with this topic, feel free to go on to this website, and, you can have some time to play. So, we also understand how everything works for the ones who are not a uLaw user. So I request you to understand that uLaw is a legal practice management software. It is also an accounting software, helps you with all of those that we spoke today, right from the time branding, where you can upload your own logo, your own letterheads, to the time where, you can download all the documents. Today, I just want to take maybe 5 minutes to go over what is available in uLaw to showcase to all of you that right from the time you can actually do your own logo and letterheads. So in fact, our support team helps with that. So if any of you have your logos and letterhead not updated, feel free to send us your logo and letterhead and request for help, and we'll be happy to, resize it. If you're someone who can resize it, make sure yourself that the logo and banner has to be of this size, width, and height that we've mentioned in here, and upload your own logo. So, right from the time you download a client intake form, you can have everything, branded here. Also, if you go into matters, there's several client-facing documents here that we're talking about, the BXUX part. And over here, you'll see let's say you're doing a simple retainer letter, okay? So let's say I want a $500 retainer, and we're collecting a retainer over here. And even a simple retainer will come out with your logo and letterhead. So later on, if the client wants to reach out with you or reach out to you, they can have all the information here handy. And, the letter, just imagine you trying to spend time doing this on your own. You should have using all these automated tools that would help you to do the, do all the fee and all the letters on your own, instead of on your own using the automated tools. It's just available. And on top of it, you give them an option to use, credit card, automated payments, of course. You're able to collect it into your account and record it into uLaw as well simultaneously. And if you look into this, it says it's also Law Society compliance documents. So these are all also part of compliance documents, but also at the same time, if you include your branding logo in it, it serves out to be your branding. You have statement of activities, your bill of costs, every single document, including closing letters. So that's what I said. Right from the top, where you intake a client intake form, verifying their ID, screening their conflicts if there are any conflicts, giving them a retainer letter, authorization letter, file opening checklist. Have I collected all of these documents from them, and getting them to sign all the documents and providing them with all these quarterly client statements if it's an ongoing file, and giving them, let's say, a closing letter in the end for all the file work that you've completed. Now, everything plays a huge role of CX and UX as well here, and it's not alone BX, right? So for the ones who are not aware, I request you to explore tons of documents into our system here. You can straight from this time where you import a contact, where you can, download or import your own intake form, and to the time where you deal with matters, even more when you go to accounts. I mean, these are not mostly client-related documents, but you will see different types of documents that would probably enhance you to provide details to enhance the user experience of PX overall, so that you can work faster to provide details to your client. Could be regarding their invoice, could be regarding their disbursement, something that they would like to understand. You can provide them with all of the information from here. So for the ones who have not been, so far at least, working on your, BX, CX, UX, and PX, it's high time, because the competition today is so vast and so cutthroat, and you want to make sure that you as a paralegal or you as a lawyer is able to provide the exclusive service in your own way and give the top-notch feeling to your client, and in turn give them a great user experience, and that would in turn help them to refer you or come back to you for another service. And also at the same time, you at your end are able to enhance your product experience and get a better closure to your clients. So the ones who have not been so far using it, this is a screen, or this is a slide that you have to definitely take a look at. So right from the time branding to training your personnel to automating most of your business, there's no point sitting behind the old emailing. There's so many things that you can automate today, right from the time intaking. You can just have your website with a client portal, or you can just use a program like uLaw has a client portal. That's something that I didn't show. Maybe I would show and wind up there, where you can just simply use a client portal to add in your email, your client's email, a secret key, and the email is directly sent to the client. I mean, I'm not going to generate it. There's a separate webinar on that client portal things. But I'm just saying that it's very important that when you choose a software, you choose a software that has all of this client portal integration. And even when you go to a matter, is where you see the document integration. It opens the drive, it connects to your drive, it will ask you for permission, and then you just have to create a link from that respective folder for the client, send it to the client, ask them to upload all the documents in, and you have it everywhere. It will not be only in your Drive, so it will also be in your uLaw program. So try to have most of your, documents automated, and use a practice management and a legal accounting solution like uLaw that would enhance all your, documentation processes and your overall business automation, and implementing all of these to improve interactions and the overall experience for all of your clients. Now, I am probably to the end of the webinar, like to pause here for a moment to see. It's exactly 60 minutes, started at 1:59. I think I was a minute early, but I just wanted to make sure that all of you could get a glimpse out of today's webinar, that you were able to understand the usage of, better branding and providing the best customer experiences and overall user experience and product experience to your client. So I request each and one of you who are already using practice management softwares to try adapting to these that we discussed today, these methods that we discussed today. For the ones who are not, please register for uLaw's trial and try it out, and let us know where you need our help. And for the ones who don't have a logo uploaded into your uLaw program, feel free to email us on support@uLawPractice.com. If there are no questions, I'd like to wind up today's session. I'll probably stop the recording so that, Steph can take any questions, or you want to have any details, she can transfer the details to you on the chat window. And once again, thanking all of you in spite of a long weekend joining us for this webinar. It was a pleasure talking to all of you. I hope you enjoyed the webinar today, and let's meet next Friday. And the topic for next Friday is, let me check, I haven't myself checked. Automate your own forms with uLaw generate tags. Now that's a very interesting topic. I have myself not mastered it almost, but I'm going to try and seek some help from my support team to see how this can be showcased to all of you. And I'm going to see how we can do a technical walkthrough on generating these tags. It'll save you a lot of time when you do these tags on your own. So this could be a very interesting one. And every alternate week, we try and sneak in a CPD for all of you. So the week following, which is June the 2nd, has Get Ready for Law Society audits. Now, I know after all of us submit our Law Society annual report, this could be one of the topics. So let's enjoy the next two webinars. Then we'll have an updated list coming up soon. Thanking all of you once again, and have a wonderful long weekend. Thank you.